customer acquisition. And it's funny that the titles might not quite match. So a lot of what I was promoting when I was promoting this call was, are you leaving money on the table?
Yes.
And we will see as we go through this customer acquisition and some stats, how a lot of us, myself at times included, are leaving money on the table and what we can do to change that. So here's an interesting stat. It costs 5 times as much to attract a customer than it does to keep an existing one. The probability of selling to an existing customer is 60 to 70%, while the probability of selling to a new prospect is only 5 to 20%. That's like huge. So are we doing things to stay in touch? So how do we go about getting customers? A lot of people will do networking events. Are you still able to see my screen, Bill?
Yes.
Okay, cool. They'll go to networking events. Some people run ad campaigns, or they offer discounts. And maybe they'll do some phone calls, or they'll do some emails. And then what happens? Well, after a certain amount of time and people don't buy, a lot of people just give up. And the average salesperson, and that would include most of us small business owners who are out there who don't have a sales staff, we are that salesperson, stop after 2 attempts to reach a prospect. 2 attempts. Now here's the killer though, is that 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups before they actually buy. Now this particular quote's talking about phone calls after a meeting, but it's true on any level. Whether you're on the internet or other places, it takes several touches before someone's going to actually buy. So here's what the typical small business owner, direct salesperson does, is that 44% will give up after 1 no, and 22% will give up after 2 no's. So that's 66% of small business owners are giving up after 2 no's. And we just saw that 80% of the sales come after 5 touches. 14% give up after 3 no's, and 12% give up after 4. So I think we added this up the other day. I think it ends up like 90-some%. I don't know. Are you fast at math? I'm not real fast, so let's see. We got check.
It's like 94.
And 94%. Yeah. So if we just follow up 5 times, we're going to be in the top 10%, right? We're going to get most of the sales too. But it's time consuming to do all of this. So setting up systems can be vital. The other thing that'll happen is we'll actually get the customer from time to time, amazingly, even with only those 2 touches, right? But then we'll provide our service or give them their product, but then we don't ever get in touch with them again, except for maybe Christmas and, or seasonal holidays. But right. so many other business owners do that too. So what happens? That doesn't mean anything. It gets lost, right? At the holidays, I'm only paying attention to my family, not businesses. And they may send me a card and I might put it up just for decoration, but I'm just going to throw it away afterwards, and it doesn't mean anything. It's not going to make me contact them more because they sent it then. So there's some other options, and we'll get into those in a minute. Let me just take a drink of water and let me zoom in for the Facebook people so they can see this. So you can see here the process for actually attaining a customer is pretty significant. It's all of those things we were talking about. But then keeping a customer, it's a lot simpler. So this is where email comes in, and you may have heard the phrase email marketing. And as soon as some people hear that, they may go, no, put up the silver cross or whatever. because a lot of us have full inboxes, and so we don't want to, we think, no, don't want to go there.
Right.
But we'll get into it in a minute. Let me, I don't know if you can see this, the people on screen. It takes all of this effort to acquire the customer and get them. And then you need to keep them. And there's several ways of keeping them. So you can have outreach programs, product updates, contest events, loyalty programs, but also blogs, emails, and RSS. And then we get into this other stuff, and a lot of people that are doing network are relying on these referrals, but how we stay in touch and how we get to know people happens here, and it can happen with emails. The trick is doing it right, and I think why some people are adverse to it is, well, if you're like me and you sign up for a lot of things because you're getting a lot of information, then your inbox, you get into overwhelm.
Right.
But at the same time, there are people that are coming into your inbox that you actually want to see, and you read their stuff, and it's educational, and it helps you get to know them better, and they prove themselves that way. And by being consistent and showing up on time, you're like, oh, okay, they start winning you over. And sometimes it may be something that they're not ready for it now, but maybe later. So as an example, I'm doing working on doing a rebrand for both my website as well as the 2.0 version of the membership site. So what did I do? I went into my email and I typed in branding and brand. Who all did I sign up for branding at one point in time and didn't need then, but I need it now? Who knows how long they've been coming in? They may have been coming in for a year or two, and I didn't unsubscribe them, and now I'm looking for them. Right? So it's all about perspective and different, and we need to not base things based on our perception. We'll get into that in a minute, but here's the most effective digital tactics for customer retention. And even though some of these stats are based on customer retention, it also applies to actually getting the customer in the first place too, that it works for both. The most effective one of all is email marketing at 56%. Social comes in at 37%. Content marketing at 32%. And some of these things all kind of intertwine together. And then referral marketing at 26%. So if you're relying mostly on the referrals and you add email marketing, you're going to up your percentage of retaining customers or getting them by 30%. And all of these things too, this content marketing or creation, that can be part of this. They can all intertwine. You can use the things that you create in all of these areas. So you can leverage things too. So I thought that was pretty significant. It's interesting the things things I know, but when you go looking for stats on stuff, it's like, wow. So here's some of the things that email can do. So like I said, when I first mentioned email marketing, some people might have gone, no. But some of the things that email marketing can do is it educates, and that's really what you need to be doing. That's part of the doing it right. So many people do other things, which we'll get into in a minute, and that's why people don't like it or it doesn't work. The other thing it can do is nurture the relationship. So even though you might meet somebody in person face-to-face, hey, William's here. Thanks for joining us, William. Even though we might meet people face-to-face, we can continue to nurture that relationship through email. And the thing that I'm like about the email as well, and I think I touch on it later, but I'll make sure is that it does take a little bit of time to set it up and build it up, but once you do, you get to use it over and over and over again, right? It's a system. It works for you. It can be automated, and so that's cool. So being able to nurture relationships and educate prospects and customers all at the same time, that's so cool, right? And it keeps you top of mind. So like we were talking about earlier, my inbox is so full with tons of stuff. I get hundreds, but I still see those people's names, and yeah, we move things around and certain people get priority, but that person is still staying in front of me, even though I might have met him 5 years ago and bought from him 5 years ago and I haven't. Until I unsubscribe, they're still staying top of mind. That is very cool. You can use it to get appointments. I'm thinking of somebody who's usually on the calls, Brenda, and she's in an industry that's more of a person-to-person. She's in that financial industry. And so they're kind of restricted about what they can do online. But even with them, if they set up a system for nurturing the leads, like we saw earlier, it takes more than 5 touches. They could set up a template of emails that they use that's easy to cut and paste and then send it out, and then they're not reinventing the wheel every time. It can actually close the sale too. There are some statistics, and I don't know if I have it here, but the percentage of people who will actually buy as a result of education and information is significantly more than those that don't. And it can be shared. Somebody can share an email. They can pass it on or copy and paste it and send it to somebody. So those are all pretty significant things. So let's see. Before I go on, I want to just, get a drink and see if there's any comments. And Bill, you're in here. I'm going to, I don't know, Bill or William, you can unmute yourself if you want to comment. If you just hover down at the bottom of the platform, there'll be a place to unmute your microphone. Any thoughts or comments on this so far, Bill or William? Which I think this other William, if I know who it is, actually goes by Bill too, but.
I guess for me, Valerie, I'm one of those persons who have probably been adverse to email marketing. I sort of, that's part of hearing more about this, is how can I streamline this to work for me? And that's why I have an interest in it. I certainly understand the need for it, but I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible.
Yeah, I get simple, and email can be simple. Like I said, there is a little bit of an up ramp to build it up, and just like anything else, when you first get started, it may not be perfect, and you may find you have to tweak it and make adaptations, and you'll find which things are working and which things aren't. But as you work on that, eventually you're going to have this nice fine-tuned machine, if you will, that's going to do the work for you. You just have to get the people into the machine, right? And it'll do it for you. And then you can send an email to a whole bunch of people at one time instead of having to go and send them to people, one-on-one. Whoops, sorry, I went the wrong way. Okay. Well, William, feel free to chime in if you don't have a microphone. You can also, there's a chat box that you can share in. I'm not real good at seeing it while I'm doing everything else, but maybe Bill or David will notify me if something comes up in the chat. So if you have any questions during the call, please feel free to ask, or I'll try and remember to take breaks so you can ask the questions. Okay, so here's some of the reasons that we might resist the email marketing. All right, Bill, we're ready to talk to you. Okay, and a whole lot of other people too. So your own inbox is full and overloaded. All right, well, that would be mine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like getting emails that constantly promote.
Yep.
Okay, so remember back to that first reason I said what it can do, how it can educate. This is where a lot of small business owners get it wrong, and this is so I don't know if any of you have ever been to like a networking event and they get your business card and they automatically put you into their email thing. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for that. We need to invite people in, so we may need to there's a couple of ways to do that. Either send them a link and invite them. I think that's how you got on my list, Bill, is by doing that. Right. I have an app on my phone that the person's actually signing up for it. It's just kind of like halfway in between. I'm still kind of observing that to see how it works, but I think it is actually working. Some people don't open right away, but they do later. But the thing is to, yes, of course, we're going to be promoting in our email because that's what we want. We're trying to do. We have a service or something to offer people that's going to help them and help them in their business or help them with whatever it is our skill set is. But it also needs to be about educating and nurturing and getting that relationship, asking questions. You can use it to ask questions. You can put a question out there and ask people to reply, listening to our audience too, and finding out what is it that they need. You know, how can I help them? How can I serve them in other ways other than my product? And if you do that, then you won't have this problem of being annoying because all you're ever doing is promoting. And even if you do need to promote, there's a couple of rules, and I don't have it in the slide presentation, so I'll digress right here for just a second. It's the 80-20 rule. A lot of people have heard of that, where you need to spend 80, it fits all over life, but 80% of the time we need to spend providing value, being of service, and only 20% promoting. And so the way that can look like in email is you can either do 8 out of 10 of your emails are educational and informative, and only 2 of those emails are sales related, or the other way is 80% of any email you send is educational and has educational value, and only 20% of the email is promoting. So I kind of am in between both. I typically am trying to just send out emails that add value, but when I'm in a time of promoting things, like right now I am with this boot camp that I'm getting ready to start, it'll be more the other, where 80% of the email has value. So even if you don't want to do whatever I'm selling, I still want to give you something that's going to better your life and your business. So that's how I approach that. Another one is that people will focus on the emails that aren't opened. So let's say you get, let's say you have 100 people on a list and only 10 people open. A lot of people would say, oh, this isn't successful because I only have 10% opening, which, well, that ratio is a thing in and of itself. But instead of focusing on the 90 that didn't open, focus on the 10 who did open it. If you had a room, like a conference room, full of 10 people who wanted to listen to what you had to say or what you were trying to educate them on, would that be exciting? I think it would be, if I had a room full of 10 people who wanted to listen to me and were willing to let me educate them. Mm-hmm. No, I think, Bill, if you had 10 business owners who were, or 10 apartment managers, right, that in a room. So how cool is that? So we have to focus on the people who are opening, and let's give them our full attention and do the best we can for them and not worry about those who aren't opening. And what I have found too is that sometimes different messages are going to different people. So, you know, kind of changing that up. And there's different platforms that help with that as well. But we need to focus on who's opening it. Oops. Wrong screen. On who's opening it, not who's not opening it. Sometimes people have tried it in the past and they felt like it didn't work. So something interesting that I've been hearing lately, and I think it resonates well, is that whenever we start doing something for the first time, we're not going to be real good at it. And sometimes it takes time to refine a message or refine what you're doing. You know, when we first started learning how to walk, you know, think of it, the toddler starting to walk, right? They get up, they're holding onto the sides, they tumble and fall, it doesn't look so good, but eventually, you know, they're motoring all over the place. So if you tried it once and it didn't quite work, it just means that you didn't work at it long enough to get to where you were proficient at it so that it could be more effective. And then the other one is people will say not enough time. You mentioned that, Bill, about wanting to streamline things. And it you know, it does take time to put it together. But once you put it together, then it'll work for you over and over again. And you may need to go in and tweak it, or you might put up different campaigns and things. But as you build your list and as you build your skills, think of it more as a machine that's going to work for you. And you can use it over and over again, and you can put 100 people through it or 1,000 people through it. And once you get it built, it doesn't take any more time to do it one way or the other, you know, more or less. And you don't know what to send, so that's a big one. And again, that takes some refining, but there's a lot of ideas, a lot of things that you can do. before we get into that and how I can help with that, because I can help you with that, let's look at this. We were looking at some statistics earlier, but existing customers are 50% more likely to try new products and spend 31% more than when compared to new customers. 50% of the leads are qualified but aren't ready to buy. So 50% of your leads, we talked about this earlier, they're interested in what you have, but they're not really ready to buy. That's why, you know, the branding was interesting, but I wasn't ready to buy at the time. Now I'm interested, more interested, so I'm going back and finding the people who are still there. A nurtured lead, this is what we were talking about before. A nurtured lead, nurtured leads produce on average a 20% increase in sales opportunities versus non-nurtured leads. So this is where I think it's huge for the people who are using networking as a way to get business and to get leads. If you develop an offer, develop a PDF with something that's pertinent to your business that would be of interest to your prospects, and get them on your list right then when you're at the meeting, or, you know, send them something right after giving them the opportunity to join. Even though they weren't ready to buy from you this time because they don't really know you, you nurture that lead, and you're going to have a 20% increase in sales opportunities. So that's pretty huge. So how can I help you? Here's how I can help. Actually, before we go on to how I can help, because it's not going, is there any questions or thoughts? Got the blue screen. It's not the blue screen of death because there's other stuff on it, but you need to get a sip of water here before I go so that I don't. Okay, so the membership program that I have, which is IMM for short, or Inspired Marketing and More. During August and September, I was talking about this at the beginning of the call, I'm going to be doing an email boot camp. So it'll be 2 calls in September and 2 calls in August and 2 calls in September. So it's the 2nd and the 4th. Now, in the past, the calls have been right now at this time of day at noon, but I'm going to test out this new time period. So it'll be, instead of Wednesdays, it's going to be Tuesdays, and it's going to be from 4 to 5 p.m. instead. And something I'm adding to this that I don't have right now is accountability. So I'm going to be using WhatsApp just to send some encouragement, kind of inspire you, help all of us to do our homework and stay on top of things. And there'll be a place for feedback too, so that we can get, you know, feedback from other people and see what people think about what we're doing, so we can kind of help each other out. And while you're part of this boot camp, you will get access to the Inspired Marketing and More, all the past calls that I've done. So I'll show you that in a few minutes so you can see the things, but you'll have access to all of that at no extra. So the goal is to walk through all the steps, or to walk through the steps so that at the end you're going to have your first 2 to 3 emails that you can use on autopilot or as a template if you're in an industry that maybe you can't use the email marketing the way we would use it. And we're going to give you a plan for moving forward so that you can keep the momentum going. And this is going to help you to be able to connect with future customers, clients, or patients, depending on your industry. And you'll be able to help more people. I think most of us who go into business went into business to help somebody. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be able to help us help more people and ultimately make more money. We need that so we can help more people, right? So who is this for? It could be for people in direct sales. And just for, I want to throw this in here in case people are watching afterwards. Direct sales people, a lot of times they do different companies. They'll start out with one company and then they'll go to another and another. And if they rely on the lists and the emails provided by the company, then when they move, they lose those people. But if they develop their own list, then when they move from one product to another, a lot of the people that they got the first time around will stick with them and go on to the next one. Service providers. It's great for service providers. Doctors, attorneys, accountants, store owners can use it. Nonprofits can use it. So pretty much most people can use it in one way, shape, or form. So what's the investment? And there's actually a bonus that I have for y'all on here. Because I'm a solopreneur, you'll be able to relate to this. But let me go through this so you can also share this with other people as well. So if you're already a member in IMM, you are already in. Now, I had planned that as I was doing this broadcast right now that this would not be available anymore because I need to respect myself for the value that I have to offer. But because I haven't got all my landing pages available, there's still an opportunity to get into this, and I'll share that with you at the end. So if I were to price everything out individually, 4 hours of my time, that's how long each call is, would be $800. The accountability component, which is would be $100 value. Access to the Inspired Marketing and More, all the past calls, is $58. And so that's a total value of $958. And other programs similar to this, especially ones where you have this much access to me or to the, to the expert, typically run between $300 to $1,000. But because this is going to be my first boot camp, so to speak, I mean, I've been doing these calls for a while, but this is kind of ramping it up a little bit. Because it's my first boot camp, I'm going to give it to everybody for a significant discount, and because just for letting me practice with you. But future boot camps will be a lot more. So just to go over again the things that you're going to get in this program, we're going to help you figure out who you're writing to, and more importantly, why you're writing to them. That's important because that's going to help us know how to craft our messages. We're going to help you see what value you have to offer them so that they're willing to say yes and give you their email. And this is where, as it being part of a group, we have to be able to get feedback on people and, see what resonates with others. You'll have your first 1 to 3 emails for your, whether you're going to use it for an automated system like what I use, or if you're going to use it for an email template, if you're in the finance industry. And a plan to keep it moving forward, because once you start it, you need to keep it going on a regular basis in order for it to be really effective. So that's the goal of the program, what we're going to get you. And some of the things that are in the membership area already, so within the calls that I was doing up until now, I always have like productivity tips, or I share mindset tips. There's a lot more that we need to help us run a business. Sometimes I share tools. So these are all the ones that I've had in the past. So quite a few. And like I said, you'll have access, and this isn't even the topics that was covered, because we've covered things like LinkedIn and Facebook and branding and video and a whole bunch of other things. But these are just some tactical things that you might find very helpful and useful in your business, and you have access to all of that during the 2 months of the boot camp. So the investment is $197. Which, based on the value that I presented earlier, it's a 70% discount off of the value. There's also a payment plan if that's too much to do all at once. You can do $67 over 3 payments. It runs out to be a little bit more because I have to pay a processing fee every time there's a payment, so I have to incorporate that. But if you pay all at once and do it up front, it's $180. So I'm going to actually take another $17 off to have you get you in on the one pay option. And this is the link to access this. But here's that bonus that I had for you. Let me get it here. I'm going to have to put it in the chat. So it might take me a minute to figure out how to get to my chat. So because, let's see. All right, Facebook Live people, sorry about this. Get a little jiggly here. I'm going to copy something. Because I didn't have all my landing pages ready yet, you actually can still get into the Inspired Marketing and More membership, which is $29.97 a month. So that's for, what, $60? So let me see, where's the chat? I think I have to stop my screen share to do this. So, oh, Donna's here. Hi, Donna, I didn't see you. Oh, there's the chat. Somebody is in the chat. So let me go. Hopefully no one minds. William has no microphone or camera. That's okay, William. You know what? Any questions, you can put it in the chat. I'm going to put in here the link to the membership. So if you're not already a member, you can get it. So instead of the $197, it's basically, what, $60, a little less than $60 for that whole thing. Plus, when I put out the 2.0 version of the membership, I'm going to go ahead and put the screen share back on so people can see this. When I do the 2.0 version, the membership price is going to be going up. But if you're already in the membership program, you'll get to stay in at that price. It won't go up for you, and you'll still get whatever the mid-level of the membership is. You'll get that. Now, I can't tell you how long that link that I put in the chat is going to last. I'll put it on the Facebook Live afterwards as well, because once I get my 2 landing pages put together, it's going to go away. So that could be it could be this afternoon, it could be tomorrow morning, could be tomorrow afternoon. Honestly, don't know. Once I get it all up, I'm going to be taking that opportunity down. So if this is something that you think would be beneficial, I highly recommend you get into it. So are there any questions about the boot camp or the membership? Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to show you guys the inside of, let me do the screen share again. I have to escape this. I was going to show you inside the membership area. Let me, because I know some of the people on the call and maybe people watching the replay don't know what is actually in the membership. So this is where I house all the past calls. Oops, sorry, Facebook people. This is where I house all the past calls. So there's the slides, you can look at those, you can watch the video, you can download the audios, and listen to all the replays. And I also, there's an agenda right up here at the top. There's a link for the agenda. So, and this is stuff that's going to be fixed in the new version. The 2.0 version is making this a lot more user-friendly and easier to navigate. But for right now, you can go over here, and this shows you all the past calls on the topics. So if you're trying to figure out what it is you're looking for, you can look it up here and see what it was on. And then that way you'll know where to get it. And then the other thing that I'm going to be adding to the membership, this is new, we haven't done this before, but we're all busy small business owners, is I'm doing some article curation, and I'm actually also working on some photo quotes that you can use and brand to yourself so that you can use them on your social media platforms or your LinkedIn or wherever it is that you would want to do stuff like that. So if you go here and click on the article curation, then I have articles on different topics, and I've kind of gone through and picked out topics that I felt would be, there should be at least 3 topics that would be useful to most of the people in the group, most of the industries. So we'll be adding to that each month. I'll add one to each one. So that'll give you articles. So kind of doing some of that curation for you so you don't have to try and find stuff to share. So that's something that I'm adding to the membership as well. Yeah, so that was wanted to show that to everybody. So are there any questions about membership or the boot camp, the membership program, email marketing, or anything else for that matter? And
Mallory,
yes.
could you go over again, if you wanted to do just the boot camp, you said there were two prices, one was $197, one was $180. Go over which one comes where and when, and then how do you, if you wanted to go ahead and sign up for that, I took down what I thought was, but verify what I need, where I need to go if I wanted to sign up for it.
Okay. So, well, the best deal is, like I said, the link, the little link that I put in the chat box. And if that goes away before you make your decision, then the link, where'd it go? Hang on, let me, all right, why is it not moving? Okay, this is the link right here. It's a bit.ly link, so bit.ly
Okay.
/email and then a capital B and a capital C. And they're both the same. It's all the same. It's just that at the one, I'm pricing the program at $197, but if you pay all at once, I'll take that $17 off, and when you go to that link, it'll be in there. It'll give you both of these options.
Okay.
And then the other option is if the one-time payment is more than you can do right now, then you can do the 3-payment option. So it'll deduct the $67 right now, and then every 30 days it'll recharge your card.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So that's that. Anybody else have any questions about the membership site or the boot camp or email marketing in general? Anything they've seen that they're not sure about? I gotta find where my chat, how I can see my chat. It's hard to see things sometimes when I'm in sharing the screen mode, so it doesn't look like there's anything new in the chats that I can see. So let me ask you this, did you find this useful? Did everybody find this informative? Was there something that you learned here that you didn't know before you started the call that's going to make you consider a change in your business and how you're doing things?
For me, it was useful. I mean, I certainly, we've talked about email marketing before. Mm-hmm. And the idea of how you're doing this, and I'm still a bit apprehensive, but yet I'm beginning to understand more the need for it. Mm-hmm. I get the idea of the touches. It's just how to massage this, I think, for me, probably is the way that I'm beginning to try to put this together.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
How to more or less massage this for me so that it sort of fits what I'm doing and how I, kind of structure the type of marketing efforts I want to do. Right.
And yes, and that's why I like to have this be this hands-on program where we have these calls so that as we're working through it and you have questions, I can help you massage that and give you that feedback. William asked if this was PowerPoint, and yes, it is, William. What I do with PowerPoint is I know the content that I want to share, but if I were to put this program together, it would probably take me all day to put this PowerPoint together. And I have a virtual assistant who does a lot of graphics work for me. And so I give her, oh, come on, I'm trying to get to a different screen here. I give her the content, and she puts it together for me. She's in the Philippines, so I think I would pay her like $25 an hour. And so in about 2 or 3 hours, she puts it all together for me. And that's so worth it than me doing it, because my time is definitely, that's not the best use of my time. And one of the calls that I did here, I was trying to find which one it was. I talked about how to do that, how to outsource things. February 24th. The February 24th call was on outsourcing and how to do that. Oh, it looks like okay, it went back. So I covered that, and I think as solopreneurs, we think, oh, we can't hire somebody, and maybe we can't hire somebody, but we can outsource things a little bit. She doesn't work for me full time. I have her set, the maximum is 8 hours a week, and sometimes it's only 2 hours a week. Sometimes it's 5 hours a week. It just depends on what I need. So there's a lot of options, and I know there was somebody that sometimes is on our calls, Terry, she doesn't want to outsource out of the country, which is fine. You can still get people here that in the U.S. using a platform called Upwork, and you're going to pay more than $5 for that, but if that's something that's important to you, still you can get people to do projects for you on a project basis and not, you know, have to hire a whole person. So that's something important to keep in mind. So sorry, I digressed from our topic, but I wanted to put that out there, because another thing that she does, actually I have another girl that does some stuff for me too, is spreadsheets. You know, this is not my gift. While I could probably struggle through it, it'd take me, you know, 3 to 5 hours to get it, 3 or 4 hours to get it done, and it takes her, you know, 20 minutes to an hour. You know, so we don't need to be struggling through these things that we're not good at. We can get people to help us with it. Or even this membership program is a way to do that too. You know, maybe you can't hire, you're not ready to hire a marketing person yet, but or hire a consultant one-to-one, but you know, with the membership, you kind of are adding me to your marketing team so that I can help you with the areas that maybe aren't your strengths. So we'll see. So any other questions? We can go off topic now if anybody wants. And this is typically what we'll do on the calls, even though we have a topic to start with. Now, whether we'll do that during the membership, I'm not sure. We'll see. But I usually try and leave 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the call to. Am I still sharing my screen, Bill?
Your screen now has the
link. Okay.
HTTP on it. So your screen is still on, but it's just showing the email.
Okay. All right, yeah, it still is. Okay, I just wanted to make sure it still was. So if there's any questions on any other topic, like, I don't know, Bill, I know you're doing a lot of LinkedIn. I'm not sure, William, where your focus is right now, or Donna, if she has any questions.
Valerie, back to not leaving this right now. Number one, if you, for some reason, had to miss, if you signed up for it and you had to miss one, will you have access to that particular session? And will they be up longer even if you don't miss it to review them?
Yeah, so once you're in the boot camp, you will have access to them beyond the course of the boot camp. So, and if for some reason you can't make a call, yes, you will have access to the replay. I would encourage you, though, to put it on your calendar and you know, kind of treat it like an appointment. That's another reason for changing that time. The reason why I'm testing that, I know middle of the day can be hard sometimes, especially if you're going out and doing appointments. So I'm hoping that 4 o'clock in the afternoon might be a better time. It's kind of towards the end of running around maybe, and before dinner and before you transition into your nighttime routine. What you can do if you're going to miss, though, and this is for people listening to the replay, is make sure you do the homework so that if you have any questions, because you'll know what the topic is that we're going to be covering on that next call, so that you can send me your questions. And even though you're not on the call, I'll do my best to address it. I won't be able to address it as well because, you know, we can't have that feedback. And I will give preference to the people who are on the call. But if there's time, I'll absolutely answer your question, do the best I can to answer your question with the information I have, so you still can get an answer to it on the replay. And I am going to make this as kind of a, even though everybody in the membership program will get it, I am going to make it a standalone so that even after the calls end, you will still be in the Bootcamp. Kind of that lifetime access that they talk about. That was a very good question. Thank you, Bill. Oh, let's see. William has a question here. How about getting emails for an email program? I'm not sure what you mean, William, about, let's see if I'm missing something. It says, how about getting emails for an email program? I don't know what you mean. I need a little bit more information. Oh, you don't have a mailing list. Okay. Yeah, we'll cover that a little bit. And really what we can, part of it could be starting to set up that foundation. So, William, I think if I'm, just to clarify so that I know who I'm talking about, you're from ProDesk, you do SEO, is that right? To have the right person in mind? Yes, okay. So I know you do some networking, and so with one of the options, one of the providers that I use, I have an app on my phone, and I can actually ask them right there while I'm at the meeting, you know, and say, hey, I've got something that I want to send you, you know, and have them sign up. And actually, I think that's how you got on my list because we met there and I said, oh, hey, here, I got this will help you. And you signed up, right? So you can add it to them that way, or you can set it up. The thing that we'll be working on in this call is that value add that we talked about at the beginning, so that you can create something of value that's going to be valuable to your target market. And then you can offer it to them. So even if you don't do this particular program, after a meeting, if you can discipline yourself to send them a quick email, and you can create a template, right, that's already got the links in it. So you just have to customize it a little bit. Hey, great meeting you at such and such a place, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I've got something for you if you're interested. And then you're letting them opt in, as opposed to being like those people we talked about at the beginning who are kind of yucky that we don't really like. That they put you in even though you didn't ask, you know, so that's a way to get them in. So yeah, we can reinforce all of that and encourage you in that and give you some ideas. It's not part of the topic per se, but yeah, we'll definitely help you with anything email related that I have the capabilities of helping. I will do my absolute best to help you. And even if I don't know the answer, I know a lot of experts. I know where they are. I know how to find them. I can go ask questions if I get stumped. I'll go see what I can find out from somebody smarter than me and then bring it back to you. Does that answer your question, Bill?
Yeah.
I mean, William? Do you go by William or Bill? Because on your chat pairing it says William, but I thought you go by Bill, so I'm confused. And I've got two Bills. Hey, I'm a rich person. If he goes by Bill, I got two Bills today. Okay, either one. Okay, very cool, very cool. So any questions, any more questions either about email or LinkedIn or Facebook or any other thing that you're doing that you struggled with today or last week? That's another thing that I encourage people to do, these calls, is if you run into something over the course of the week, you're working on a project, dang, write it down, because you never know, I might know something about it. Seem to know a lot about a lot of things, a little about a lot of things. So I may have something or know of somebody, or be able to direct you to somebody that might be able to help with that particular situation, or I may have had that situation myself and I can help you out with that. But sometimes when we're sitting here at the call, we don't remember. So I encourage people just to jot it down during the week or in between calls when you have it. The other thing too, I was going to just mention, and it's on one of the videos that's not on the landing page, so you guys weren't exposed to it yet, is that I would encourage you to, if you did, when you sign up for the program, put the dates in on your calendar when the calls are. Treat it like an appointment. Pre-schedule it, but also schedule at least 1 hour a week I'd say, and I'll use that as a starting frame. You know, everybody works differently, so you'll have to see for you what you need. But start with an hour a week and program that down as homework time. You know, put it in and make it an appointment that you keep with yourself, right? So you can get the most out of the program so that by the end you'll have that product, that goal that we desire. Because in order to get the goal, you got to do the work, right? But if we don't program it, and, you know, if I don't calendar anything, it doesn't happen, right? And even if I calendar things, it tends to move around. But I really encourage you to put that homework time and the call times in the calendar and treat it like an appointment when you'll be able to be successful at it. Let me see. Bill has a question here. Let's see. My contact info? Yeah, Bill, there is on my website, there's a place to contact me. Or you got this information from an email, right? If you got this information, if you got this information from an email that I sent you, you can just hit reply in there. And then that will come to me, and I can do that. Yes, you sent me an email. Okay, yeah, just hit reply on there, and I'll message you back. And I'm not exactly sure what information it is that you're looking for, but yeah, just hit reply and send me a message that way. We'll do it that way. Okay, we're almost to the top of the hour here, so if there aren't any, and Bill, even though you get to see this tomorrow, you might remember something that I mentioned here that I won't mention tomorrow because I have a lot less time tomorrow. So if there's something important, you can bring that up for me. That would be greatly appreciated. And who knows, I may even have different stuff tomorrow because, you know, I'll be in a different place at that time. But if that's it, then we will go ahead and end this call. And we'll see some of you, hopefully, in the boot camp and other places in between.
Thanks, Valerie.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.